After watching a few videos on hacking the POD Go, in this video, I explain what it is exactly and show you my process that will give you as many as 7 free blocks. Watch on to find out more. Hello and welcome to the video. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Justin and I'm all about worship guitar, helping you sound and play your best with Jesus. Please consider subscribing, hitting that bell notification button, and heading over to my Buy Me a Coffee page to download my patches and more to support these videos and my ministry. If you've met before, welcome back. I hesitate to call this a hack because technically, hacking refers to activities that compromise digital systems. Since we're not doing any of that here with the POD Go, I propose a term from the iOS world, jailbreaking, which is a privileged escalation exploit executed to remove software restrictions. The videos out there tell you how to jailbreak, but they don't cover what it is you're actually doing. I'm going to value add by turning on nerd mode. The POD Go saves its presets using the JSON script. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation and is a text format for storing and transporting data. In the case of a POD Go preset, and I suspect many other products in the Line 6 family, the preset contains information on blocks, their placement in the preset, and their associated settings. When we delete the code corresponding to the while, volume, and effects loop, the POD Go doesn't seem to conduct integrity validations, and therefore, the block gets freed up and becomes empty. Impress your guitar friends the next time you bring this up. The usual disclaimer and some reassurance. If you're still keen on jailbreaking your POD Go, this is something that you are responsible for and you have to be prepared that you might break your POD Go. However, if comments from Line 6 staffers on the forums are to be believed, you're not voiding your warranty by using a jailbroken patch because you're not modifying the hardware or internal software. If an issue does crop up and Line 6 support won't help, do a factory reset of your device and they will help you. Step 1. Edit the JSON file with your text editor. People have demonstrated which part of the JSON file to delete, so instead of repeating what's out there, here's my very ad. In my free pack and the POD Go Worship Essentials pack, you'll find a text document that is the exact code you need to find to delete. Copy the bit of code, use your computer's search function, and paste it there to find the exact part of the code to delete. I'm doing this because I've accidentally deleted the wrong part of the code, which has resulted in a very glitchy POD Go. Learn from my mistakes. In addition to the while and effects loop, I also removed the volume pedal. I'll explain later. So by this stage, you will have 3 more free blocks, which brings up your total tally to 7 blocks. That's almost like HX Storm level of flexibility. But hold up. Before you ditch the HX Storm for the POD Go, you don't actually free up more processing power. The overall DSP in the POD Go is not as high as JSON Storm. So while you may have 7 free blocks, if you choose DSP hungry effects, you won't be able to fill up all 7 blocks. Step 2. Create a volume pedal with the amp's channel volume. I can hear you guys screaming, how are you going to control the patch volume? Here's how. If you run your wet section post-amp at the end of your signal chain, you don't need a dedicated block for a volume pedal. You could assign the expression pedal to control the channel volume parameter, which does not change or alter the tone or the amp's response. Click on channel volume, select expression 2, which is the default for the now deleted volume block, and you now have a blockless volume pedal. What's really cool is that you can set the minimum maximum values rather than just 0 to 10, which is helpful to balance the overall volume of your other patches that you may be using for a live situation. For example, the Fender amps set clean almost always need to be cranked all the way up to 10, while a high gain Marshall tone may only need to be set at 7 or 8 to match the same volume. If you run your wet section before the amp, you can use the same trick in creating a volume pedal in any of your always on pedals before the amp. For example, if your compressor is always on, you could use the compressor volume as the volume pedal. This does mean, however, that your amp's response will change at different levels of the compressor volume. At lower levels, the amp will be cleaner, while at higher levels, the amp will be grid up. This could be a desirable feature and will depend on your style of music. Step 3. Experiment with block loading order. From here on, it's up to your preferences as to how you're going to fill up those 7 free blocks. However, I know some of you are trigger happy and will try to load 3 reverbs and 4 delays, so to avoid disappointment, it pays to plan your patch ahead. Here's the primary question you need to consider. What amp cap combination do I need? The amp and cap are at the heart of your tone, and some amp models use a lot of DSP. Ben Vesco has done an amazing job documenting the relative DSP consumption of every amp model on the Helix ecosystem, and I'll link his resource page in the description box. You have to go in one of 2 directions: FX heavy, amp light, or FX light, amp heavy. I'm assuming you're looking to go in the FX heavy direction since you're watching this video, so I'd recommend going with DSP light amp models like the Vox models, the Suit Pro, or some of the Line 6 originals like the Litigator and the Badonk. You'll have to go in the FX light direction if you want to use the more DSP intensive models like the Matchless, any of the Marshalls, and the boutique ones like the Archon, Mesa Boogie, and Diesel amps. One interesting thing I'm discovering is that the IR block takes up a bit more DSP than a cap block. Ben Vesco's DSP allocation table seems to corroborate this, but I don't know, it could be my unit that's weird. Try it out for yourself. Max out the DSP usage on a patch using an IR, then remove the IR block and replace it with a cap block. If your unit is like mine, you should see some leftover DSP available. This is good news because if you download my patches, you won't need to worry about importing separate IR files. Shameless plug. I think the jailbreak is worth doing for one big reason: the Haas effect. I've dialed in a patch where one block is dedicated to creating a super wide stereo effect using the do delay trick on most of my patches. Have the right side completely off and have the left side set to a 9 to 15 millisecond delay with 0% feedback and 100% mix. This one trick alone is making the POD Go tones much more inspiring to play. It also feels like I'm approaching the flexibility of the HX Storm, so POD Go users, you may not have to save up and upgrade to the HX Storm later with this trick. Which leads us to today's bonus and question of the day. All the tones you'll be hearing are from my POD Go Worship Essentials pack and are in a folder called Jailbreak. Let me walk you through a particular template, AC Wide T. This has the dual delay trick as well as the drive and wet section already dialed in, so you have 2 remaining blocks for the 2 empty foot switches. On the demo, you heard me use a version of this patch with a chorus and a dedicated dotted eighth delay, but there's also enough DSP to have some interesting combinations of effects that you could have on standby when the song calls for it. Again, because of DSP limitations, don't expect to fill in those 2 slots if you want to add an extra reverb. For those of you who bought the pack previously, check your folder link because the update is free. And for everyone else, I'm including a basic jailbroken patch in the free pack, which will have my preferred cab and EQ settings dialed in. Question of the day: what signal chain would you love to have on your POD Go if you have 7 free blocks? I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts in the comment section below. That's it for me, thanks for watching this video. If you've gotten value out of it, like it and share it with someone whom you know is interested in jailbreaking the POD Go. Until next time, I'm Justin, and I'm all about virtual guitar.